So I made a video not that long ago talking about Stale 2000, a former Reddit mod of LSF who got removed from the subreddit because he fell for a scam or actively took part into it. Again, it was a whole thing, and it was funny for multiple different reasons. The first one being that he believes that Reddit mods should be treated exactly like celebrities or influencers, which is already stupid for many reasons, as I talked about in that video. But this is a video that I kind of saw someone talking about while scrolling through Twitter, where apparently he made another video called Mass Reporting is Good, actually. And I believe, is this the first video he's made since? Nope, he's talked about a lot. Usually just going after Twitch. Oh, he even made a response video to Moist Critical. So today we're going to check out this video. Mass reporting is good, actually, because as someone who is pretty known for being in the Destiny community, it shouldn't be surprising that this guy is just like, actually, yeah, we should be mass reporting. Mass reporting is good. So we're just gonna check this out.
An armed society is a polite, and terms of service reports are exactly the metaphorical weapon that the internet desperately needs to make.
Is he green screening himself to have a nicer background? You could tell, like, with like this mic handle, it's not like covering all the way. There's probably like a wire here that's stopping it. You can tell like there's a red line around his head. Why?
Make it more polite. In this video, I am going to be talking about a variety of drama-centric live streamers in what's called the commentary community. I am going to be talking about the dynamics of how these people and their communities interact with one another, the consequences of such, and how that compares to what the internet was like in the past. The internet and its toxic troll communities are much different than how they were 15 years ago. I speak from personal experience. 15 years ago, I was involved in a variety of anonymous IRC chat. That is, anonymous, the infamous.
It's not even working properly. It just glitched out a shit ton. Yeah, dude, you would probably know something about being in trolling communities. You were trying to advertise yourself. Like, this guy literally made like a joke video. Like, I don't think he meant it on sincerity outside of actually being a Destiny fan, but he literally made a video about like, here's why I should be DGGer of the year.
Infamous hacking that was DDoSing the Church of Scientology website, taking down websites that deplatform WikiLeaks, and even participating in the Arab Spring revolutions by electronically targeting various authoritarian government websites. It's hard to explain how viral Anonymous and its related subgroups like LulzSec were. Internet communities back then were still...
Okay, this is weird. Is this also a green screen? I don't think this is. This looks very natural. Did he green screen like the intro? What the? That's just weird.
Still mostly just full of nerds. The only thing regular people were on was Facebook. And even that was mostly young people. So the advent of a decentralized internet community that was achieving real results, or harm, in the world was unheard of till then. When these online hacking groups did, mattered. It was not jokes, it was not fake, it was not saying mean words, it was targeting your enemies, causing real material harm. I was in some of these groups as a stupid 21-year-old, and although I never got caught doing anything that got me in serious trouble, I was talking to people who did. I remember interacting with, ended up in prison for digital crime. The funniest thing that I personally did is I guess I created a fake political party called the Anon Party, and I tricked a couple media groups into writing an article about it. There might be some archives of the Guardian article that was about this from 10, 15 years ago, but I don't know. I say this not to brag, but instead to say that I can give a real perspective into these communities and how internet troll advocacy groups used to work and how they're different from kind of modern day internet communities. Us internet trolls understood that the stuff that we did mattered. It had
proudly being like, oh, I'm an internet troll. Dude, this is so lame. Like, yes, I am a proud little piece of shit. I am a proud annoying person. It's just so fucking lame, dude.
Real world consequences. We understood that we were in danger. Nay, we were the danger. Websites getting hacked was real damage. Your friends and family and work.
Nay, we were the danger with our little keyboards.
Being called or harassed was real harm. Somebody putting in fake pizza orders to your address was real damaging harm. This is why everyone back then was so terrified about being doxxed or having their real world information out. Both us trolls knew, as did regular people, that you didn't want people on the internet to know who you were. Even the name of this hacking group itself, Anonymous, demonstrates this ethos. Definitionally, you're the same as everyone else. It's not about you. There are no leaders, and if you get doxxed, well, you log off, retire that entire identity, and maybe join again under a new anonymous identity. This led to an interesting dynamic. And that is, even though these hacking groups and IRC channels were full of dangerous people who really were out to get you, it produced a
No, never mind. I think the green screen is still there. Because, like, if you can see, like, this little wire here, like, you can tell kind of around the mic that it's just still not that good. Because it keeps, like, it's weirdly, like, glitching out. I know this is, like, a weird detail to, like, really drive home, but, like, it's weird that you would do this. Because in the beginning, it was so bad you could obviously tell. But it seems like he stopped to try to rework it without refilming the intro. I don't know. But this whole thing of like trolling communities, like, no, you still suck. You sucked back then, you suck now. Like, his example was just like, calling pizza orders to your house. Obviously, that's going to be tormenting for the person receiving them, because even though they get pizza, there's that knowledge of like, oh, somebody I don't know from the internet who is just doing this to troll me knows where I live. Like, they know my personal information, shit like that. But he's trying to like look at it through like rose tinted glasses of being like, oh, this was a good thing actually. Like, no, you're still terrible. You're so bad.
kind of politeness or cordialness.
He's essentially saying we were doing harassment the right way for people that we just kind of didn't like or thought were cringe. But at the end of the day, it did nothing. It does nothing. Like, if you want to get a certain message across, maybe he'll go into more deeper examples of like why they did certain like trolling campaigns. But for the most part, it's just like the biggest example I can think of is Chris Chan, which would not fucking surprise me if this guy actively took part in that. But like with Chris Chan, there's many things wrong with Chris Chan, don't get me wrong, even outside of all the trolling stuff. But like the worst thing about them was that they were cringe on the internet, and that just drove a lot of people to harass them for decades. Like, we can get into their personal beliefs, stuff that they done to people around them, but like when it comes to stuff online, it was just endless harassment for them that definitely drove them to become worse overall as a person.
Among the people in these groups that were smart. If you were smart, you didn't pick fights with other people, because that other person could be anybody. They could come after you. They could be a master hacker for real.
Yeah, they could be a fucking lunatic.
They could harm you, dox you, send harassment towards your family, DDoS.
Like, this is this guy's whole argument. He was like, actually, no, being a like doxer, harasser is good, actually.
You the works. Now, some people did still pick fights. These were anonymous hacking IRC channels after all. But the people who picked fights didn't tend to last very long. Someone would put their hand on the stove, get burnt because they unnecessarily pissed off the wrong person, and then they would disappear from the community forever. There was a feedback loop, and it stopped the most toxic of the most toxic from infinitely attacking everyone in the community forever. So when the rest of the community observed some toxic idiot pissing off the wrong person and then getting completely pwned in return, what we did is we laughed at them. We called them the R slur. We called them stupid. Because they were. What are you doing? Joining a hacking IRC channel, pissing off a bunch of people, especially when you don't even know how to use a VPN or protect your personal information otherwise. In other words, we lived by the ethos of talk shit, get hit. F around and find out.
I'm thinking. I'm just like, maybe we need to bring back bullying. But honestly, the more that I think about it, I think this is what bullying leads to. Like, if you bully someone enough in real life, they will just become an annoying little shit online just to kind of, get that aggression out. Because what the fuck?
Spam slurs against people for weeks on end, well, you better watch your back because we're going to come after you, and it won't be merely by calling you a slur back in return. This dynamic is very different than modern, safe online communities. Additionally, there weren't many true leaders. If you wanted to start some hacking operation or internet advocacy campaign against a target, legit or otherwise, you either had to do it yourself or convince other people. There weren't many cult leaders, or as we call them, influencers these days, who could instantly mobilize people to do exactly what they wanted, no matter who they targeted or what the campaign is. And for the few leaders that did exist, they had the chops to back it up. The master hackers from LowSec or similar. They weren't influencers who were just entertaining. They actually did walk the walk. They didn't have the true unaccountable power that comes from having an army of...
You know what's also sad is that a lot of people who used to be like trolls back in the day that he's talking about, like probably like, early days internet or like mid to late 2000s is what I'm guessing the time period he's talking about, maybe even early 2010s. Most of those people just kind of leave. They just get bored. They grow up. But like this guy, probably like in his late 30s, maybe entering his 40s. I'll go late 30s. He's still doing this. Like, he said he was doing this back when he was like 21 years old. More than likely, he's over 35, he's still doing this. Like, if you're still this deep in the community, that's just sad.
But they were able to mobilize people towards their goals. That was the old internet. Let's talk about the new internet and its troll communities now. Large-scale, powerful, decentralized, and anonymous
Back in my day, trolling actually mattered.
Groups basically don't exist. The only ones that come close are 4chan and maybe Kiwi Farms, and 4chan is frankly a shell of its former self. But even these communities these days feel much more nihilistic and uncaring than previous internet groups. The modern day internet troll or snark or advocacy groups are dominated by one thing, and that is influencers. Influencers just didn't exist 15 years ago. Yeah, there were celebrities, but celebrities were distant from their fans. They weren't interacting with them every day or directing their communities in discords like the micro celebs of today. What is called the commentary community, as well as snark communities, most demonstrates how the new internet troll communities operate today in a way that is significantly different than old internet troll communities like Anonymous. The commentary community is a group of extremely online drama influencers and their community that comment on the latest internet controversy of the day. That's still kind of vague, as a lot of people talk about viral drama. That's why they're viral. But imagine people who don't just give a 10-minute summary, but instead spend hours and hours going over leaked logs of random internet beefs, as well as doing responses to a response of a video, along with getting into Twitter fights every day and just incestually talking to each other about each other in the most terminally online way possible. The people that I'm thinking of are influencers like Nicholas Diorio, Chud Logic, Turkey Tom, Queeman, Augie, JSDLK, those people. These are just the people that I've either personally interacted with or watched, and I do not know the full extended cinematic universe of every single commentary creator, though. I'm still going to talk about these people as an examples because I, know about them. These groups and their communities stand in stark contrast to how past internet troll groups work. This is for multiple reasons. Number one, of course, these communities are led by an influencer whose job it is to do this. These people are usually not anonymous. They can gain or lose followers, but this is not a decentralized, amorphous group dependent on a common goal. Communities exist around a single person or live stream or in their kind of Discord, and the leader can kick people out. This leads to a large amount of influence that the influencer has over these people who will do what they ask, say the article.
So I guess his problem isn't with any of the harassment that comes from it, it's just the structure. Like, he doesn't actually care about what the goal is because he likes that. He likes the harassment. Again, this is a Destiny fan, so of course he likes that. His problem, though, is with the structure. But dude, like I said, you're a Destiny fan. That's literally the same. Destiny has an entire community of having these fucking shitty-ass fans who go after anyone that he perceives to be an enemy. Like, he operates the exact same way that you say all these other guys operate, which is true. They also suck. But dude, it's just funny, like, you're naming all these creators who are definitely, drama YouTubers who have communities who will go after people that they're covering. But you're missing a very big name out of all those people.
Arguments that they make, and if they step out of line, they'll just get kicked out. This relationship is mostly one way. Real significant consequences or feedback comes less from the fans and more from other creators. And two, it's content, not reality. People join these communities because it's entertaining. They saw a YouTube video, a clip, a tweet, a live stream, and they joined not for a common cause or goal, but just because it's fun. And although somebody may be a fan of certain creators, the people on screen are barely real to the
Dude, he's a trolling hipster. He's a hipster for trolling. He's just like, man, now it's gone all mainstream. Now you're just following one person and jumping on the trolling that way. Trolling used to mean something. You used to do it for the love of the game. He's a trolling purist.
And this is regardless of the seriousness of the content or drama that the creators are involved in. Sure, sometimes the content or drama is simply two influencers talking shit about one another on Twitter. But other dramas or content will be about if a content creator sexually assaulted somebody or not. And even for a serious topic like that, this really is just entertainment for most people. It rarely occurs to viewers that these are real people taking real action and levying serious allegations against others that have material consequences. I'll go over a terminally online example that recently just happened to prove. Recently, there was a scandal where Turkey Tom got accused of sexual assault by multiple women. A bunch of people jumped onto this controversy and had videos out within days, not hours. And later on, Turkey Tom came out with a response video that was well received by the public. And now people are saying that assault allegations were false and then people jumped the gun on concluding things. I haven't spent the hours reading the details of this.
Man, I wonder what other creator who is very similar to these creators could also be talked about in regards to facing a lot of accusations against them, but they have legitimate proof for accusing this person of the sexual misconduct that they have perpetuated. I wonder who. I wonder which creator Stale 2000 is kind of, trying to avert people's eyes away from.
So I have no idea if the accusations were true or if he was redeemed. But what I can say is that the situation is serious. It is a big deal if somebody sexually assaulted multiple people, or if there were multiple false allegations of sexual assault against somebody. Both are serious. It's not just content. Either situation could ruin lives, and I think it's important to get that stuff right. But most viewers don't think of it that way. It's just entertainment. Another interesting dynamic about
Let's go back to what he was saying.
But what I can say is that the situation is serious. It is a big deal if somebody sexually assaulted multiple people, or if there were multiple false allegations of sexual assault against somebody. Both are serious. It's not just content. Either situation could ruin lives, and I think it's important to get that stuff right.
Yeah, I'll agree with him on that. I think a lot of people, they see a lot of these controversies online, and they do only just see it for content, or they just see it as a way to push, their feelings about a certain creator one way or another. Like, something that actually he would probably disagree with me on here is the Kaya Gate stuff over whether or not Hassan shocked his dog. Like, that didn't come from a legitimate concern of being like, oh, people were worried about this animal's safety if he did shock his dog. It came from people just not liking Hassan. Like, they didn't actually care about the animal. They were making memes about it. Like, within a day of the controversy starting, people were already making memes of Hassan being Raiden from Mortal Kombat, shocking his dog. I mean, but that is also kind of the way that people talk about any sort of tragedy or controversy nowadays. Like, the Epstein stuff gets memed a lot. Anytime there's a shooting, someone has a joke about it. I mean, look at what happened with Charlie Kirk. Back when he first got shot, your job was literally at risk if you didn't say word for word what, the administration wanted you to say. If you weren't adequately mourning Charlie Kirk, you would be at risk of losing your fucking job. But now, you hop on Twitter and you will see a Kirk meme every couple of posts. Nobody cares about it. It's meme to death at this point. We're in a society now where, this stuff is the norm. Where, real life situations can just be joked about regardless of what it is.
But most viewers don't think of it that way. It's just entertainment. Another interesting dynamic about these influencer and snark communities is toxicity on levels that surpass even the most obviously toxic ones like 4chan. Sure, these communities are too woke to call you the Fs, but if you interact with them, there's about a 50-50 chance that they will immediately call you a pedophile. Here is a tweet from Trud Logic that demonstrates. I disagreed with him on a recent TOS strike that happened to him on his channel, where I said that if he didn't want to get a strike, maybe he shouldn't be so aggressive with either his content or his stream title. And he immediately ignored the substance of the point and just called me a pedophile. The content creator also has an infamous Discord channel called Spice.
I mean, he didn't call you a pedophile. He just said you looked like one. He says, have you considered shaving the last remnants of your balding hair so you don't look like a complete... That's just mean. That's terrible.
Chat that throws around these insults like candy, and multiple other.
But that's the same thing of saying the R word. You're also just doing the same thing. It's just replacing the word. Again, he's trying to be we used to do trolling and right back in the day. No, it's just the same fucking shit. You're both losers. This is so sad.
Other of these commentary community people like Queeman, Augie, and JSTLK have toxic communities that the creator is, at the very minimum, okay with being associated with. These communities will do everything up to but right before direct doxing, which the creator will usually explicitly disavow as long as it's not happening directly in that community. But they basically endorse everything up to that point. As long as somebody doesn't cross that one line, everything else is completely fair game for infinite levels of toxicity. And I think this dynamic is bad. Even if the creator themselves does not reach the same level of toxicity as their community. And these communities act this way because, one, they think it's all just fun and games and there are no consequences to their actions, and two, there isn't anyone bringing the find out part to them after they have effed around. That mostly applies to the random community members, though. For content creators, there can be a clear financial and clout incentive to constantly making your content more and more edgy. To have crazier titles, more controversial takes, and make bigger...
Well, you know what they say, fucking, you know, what is the fucking saying? Being, like, more controversial and shit like that often or not, it can get you better eyes. There is always a line to it, to the point where you can just become a very niche creator that people just kind of stay away from, where you just become a toxic brand. But yeah, like, what's the saying? I think it's like controversy breeds infamy or something like that. I don't know. Like, yeah, whatever.
And worse, insane attacks against other content. In the past, the feedback loop that would prevent people from being like this was that you'd get, doxxed and harassed in return. And the modern day equivalent consequence that I advocate for in response behavior is mass on-platform terms of service reports against the offending parties. Yes, mass reporting, both because you're allowed to do reports. It's obviously not illegal to go through proper recommended TOS channels to report somebody, and also because somebody getting their account banned can be a serious consequence that causes a person real harm. And you are intentionally causing this real harm to your target for the same reason that people were getting doxxed back in the old school, internet hacking forums. It's to create a feedback loop, a method of accountability, a consequence that stops the worst of the worst actors from destroying a community.
But here's the thing, that's still not a good thing to do. Somebody doxes somebody back in the day, and they get doxxed in return. That's still not good. That's still not good to be doxxed. Also, I'm gonna look it up. Isn't supporting mass reporting against TOS, supporting mass reporting against YouTube's term of service raises important ethical and legal considerations? YouTube's TOS explicitly prohibits content that violates community guidelines, including harassment and bullying. Mass reporting can be seen as a form of bullying and harassment, which is against YouTube's policies. There's no official rule against mass reporting, but it can lead to negative consequences for content creators. It doesn't say anything about like whether or not you support mass harassment or something. I'm not sure. I mean, there's this AI overview, but those you always gotta take with like a grain of salt sometimes. So who knows?
Reports are legal and allowed, unlike the stuff that happened in hacking communities 15 years ago. Which gets to my next topic, which is a violent allergic reaction to accountability or real consequences among these communities. Outside of the obvious stuff like doxing, the worst sin that you can engage in against one of these content creators or their communities is a terms of service report on one of their internet platforms. TOS reports are an irredeemable sin, regardless if the TOS report was correct or not. If you report somebody for breaking the rules and they are correctly punished for definitely breaking the rules, that's still a very bad thing to do to content creators. To Steelman, why a content creator would get so mad about a TOS report, I'd say it's because you're coming after their career. Platform ban does serious monetary harm to somebody. Maybe the first ban doesn't technically ruin somebody's career, but it makes them more vulnerable to other careers. If you get enough bans, you can literally have your account permabanned. And if that happens, it's basically over for the content creator in a lot of situations. Deplatforming is a big deal. To give another example, a DMCA is also a mortal sin and taboo among content creators. And that's because everybody is breaking copyright law all the time, and anyone could ruin anybody else's career instantaneously by simply sending 3 DMCA, which would get them permabanned with almost zero recourse on that platform because they are legitimately breaking copyright law.
You know what's kind of funny about this? The problem with this is that, and you'll hear a lot of content creators talk about this, that's something that like is very looked down upon in the content creator space. Like, I'm not sure if any remember this, but back when, I'm not sure if it was during his right-wing pivot or after, with Aiden Ross, where Aiden Ross was trying to go after Hassan because he uploaded his debate with Andrew Tate onto his YouTube channel by taking it from Aiden's stream. And Aiden, in response to that, tried to DMCA strike him, as well as other channels too, that he deemed as targets that would hurt Hassan, like Internet Anarchist, believing that Internet Anarchist was like Hassan's editor or something for some reason, even though they have nothing to do with one another. But that was something that outside of Aiden's fan base, nobody supported, because they realized that if that became the norm in the content creator sphere, it was literally going to make all of their careers so much worse. It means that there's just certain content you wouldn't be able to make anymore. There's certain topics you wouldn't be able to create. You wouldn't be able to like watch anybody else's video, regardless of if you were actually transforming the content or not. Because if you could just DMCA strike anything, then it was just going to become a shitstorm. It was going to become a lot more limiting of the content that you could create. And now, in Hassan's case, that debate between him and Andrew Tate was a debate between him and Andrew Tate. So even though it was taken from Aiden's stream, it was still, it also like creates a weird conversation of like what is actually somebody's content and what is somebody else's. Like, just because your name is attached to it, is it really your content if the majority of the content is focused on two other people? Like, yeah, I make reaction videos, but like this video and the two past ones, maybe even a couple more, have been me reacting to other people's videos. I wouldn't say that this is my content. I add in my own commentary to try to transform the content itself, but I would always say I'm just posting my reactions to this content, to someone else's content. But in that case, with Hassan and Aiden, the whole focus was Hassan and Andrew Tate. So even if it was Aiden's stream that he was kind of re-uploading, Aiden during that entire time didn't really say anything. It was strictly between Hassan and Andrew. So you can make the argument that that's more his content than anything else. But again, going back to the whole DMCA thing, that's why it's a very taboo thing. But I think this guy's trying to say that, doing that should be the norm, like striking these people should be the norm.
Understand why people would dislike very large negative consequences comes from either TOS reports or DMCA strikes. But my response to that, and the thesis of this video, is that beyond creating some social stigma against reports, there's another way to make yourself completely immune to the consequences of being reported. And that is to simply stop breaking the platform rules all the time, or stop getting so close to the line that you're in a gray area where a pseudo bad faith report might potentially get you banned anyway.
I mean, that's what you are kind of doing here. You literally, with your video title and what you're saying here, you're saying that harassment and mass reporting is good. That is what you are getting across with this video. Or at least that's the message you're trying to get across is, hey, going in mass numbers to report and to harass other people in hopes of deplatforming or monetarily harming them is good, actually. I just want to look at the fucking replies because this has like over 1,000 views and only 22 likes, so I'm not confident that the comments are that great. No, it's mostly just people making fun of him. I mean, it's mostly just off appearance. I wish some people would actually talk about the content of the video itself. LMFAO, he would like Kiwi Farms. Yeah, that's not surprising. Mass reporting could be considered harassment if made to just go against someone and not because video on YouTube or posts on social media have a content that deserve to be reported. Trying to encourage everyone to mass report is unironically a valid reason to report, like this video. Then he actually replies to that. I only encourage people to make lawful reports. Of course, your report should be of a real infraction. That's how you can successfully get someone banned, if you find a real thing. But here's the problem. There will often be times where these platforms will just remove someone's content or place a ban on them just because of the pure number of reports that are coming in. Like, there are systems in place that would just do that automatically. Like, they'll see that amount of reports and just assume that that reporting is coming from a genuine place and will just instinctively act on it. Like, these platforms have shown multiple times that they're not very thorough when it comes to their reporting, of really analyzing a situation of which something's being reported on. So in that, you're just essentially going forward with this belief that mass reporting is good and doesn't have like serious consequences for something that might not have a legitimate reason for being reported on. You're putting a lot of faith in the system behind it, even though it has shown you multiple times that you shouldn't have faith in it. But I think he knows that, because again, this is the same guy who made an entire video about how Reddit needs to do better, about his complaints with Reddit. So he knows that there are ways that these platforms operate that aren't in the best ways. Now, we may disagree on the problems with these platforms, but he knows this.
Stop living in this toxic, dangerous gray area where one wrong report might get you banned. Be smart. Move it back 10, 20%. Hesitate. You need to stop doing one of the two following. Either stop being so toxic and associating with yourself with this toxicity and these communities so much, or two, stop being stupid.
I mean, do you want to be the pot or the kettle? Because again, like, yeah, this is good advice for the people that he's talking about, but like, dude, you're also the same. And the creators that you are a fan of are also the same.
Stupid about it. You can be toxic.
It's the right, it's somewhat. A small fraction of it is the right messaging, but it's just coming from the wrong person.
Or you can be stupid. Can't be both stupid and toxic at the same time. You should think about it. You should put in the work, defend your claims so that you can stand by them. More specifically, this entails a few things. First, you need to stop playing these games where you pretend like you aren't associated with toxic crazies that make you vulnerable and easy targets for reports. To call out some people, ChudLogic has Spicy Chat, he has an ultra toxic editor named DK or something, and he is very hyperbolic and apparently quick to throw around pedo accusations. And then people like Queeman and JSDLK have some pretty toxic fans and community as well, that they're okay with as long as they don't cross some magic line of just this doxing stuff. And even, I guess, JSTLK had another insano editor called Ryle Kittenhouse who was doing some crazy stuff. I forget what the drama is, but I feel like you could have found a different editor. And my point isn't any one of those things. I'm not demanding that you fire one of your editors, but it more demonstrates a pattern of behavior of how you got into this mess. These content creators are always pushing the line. They are not trying to be safe. They are engaging in actions that they know are both toxic and risky. They are effing around. But to give a smart example where I think somebody was doing the right thing was when I saw a clip of also JSTLK related to me. He was debating about whether he should react to some crash out live stream that I did because he was worried that I might DMCA it or something. I would not have, by the way. A bunch of people reacted to that already, so I can't, DMCA that off the internet. And although I've had my disagreements with JSTLK, he's nowhere near the point where I'd really try to go after him or deplatform him. But I bring this up as an example of somebody hesitating. And I respect that. Not because he's being nice to me. He doesn't have to be nice. He's nowhere close to being somebody that I'd ever come after. But I respect the hesitation because it shows real fear and it affects his actions. I know the bumbling Reddit mod who looks funny persona that I play throws off most people. It makes me seem not threatening. But I'm literally telling you that I was in infamous hacking group, IRC channels, and promise you that I am not non-threatening.
As he says it in the most non-threatening way possible, he's like, I know you guys might take me, I know you guys might not take me seriously, but I'm a serious threat. You should, I used to be in a hacking group. You should take me seriously. Like, no, the reason why people see you as this bumbling Reddit mod is because that's what you are. Yeah, I bet you harass a lot of people. I bet you got a lot of great harassments under your belt. But just touch some grass, go outside, stop doing this like weird green screen where you're trying to like, I guess, make your life look a little better than it is. Cause like it's still there. I can still notice it. There's a lot of like weird, like not glitching, but like weird, there's something weird going on with like his mic, and I could tell it was happening on the top of his head as well. Like it's still, he got the green screen a little bit better, but you can still tell it's not all the way great.
And it entertains me when
like
somebody else...
It's like, why is the mic vibrating? Like, why is the edges of the mic vibrating?
else notices that. The point being, though, when somebody really thinks about what...
And instead of trying to, like, put on this persona, maybe put on the persona of, like, a normal guy who goes outside, talks to people, lives a normal life. Not someone who makes videos about how actually being an internet troll used to be better back in the day and is a good thing to be. Mass harassing people is the way to go. Like, maybe just be a normal dude.
What they're doing, worries about how other people will respond, and evaluates the consequence of that response is a smart person, and that's a smart thing to do. Having some amount of fear is smart. It shows that DSTLK is one of the smarter content creators around who does worry about consequences, even if I still think that he does surround himself with too toxic of a community. To get back to my argument about TOS reports, though, I think that if you play it safe, you still do your critical content, but in a way where you know that you're clearly not breaking the rules, where you know you're backing up everything that you're saying, and you're kind of doing it in the right way, well, then you don't have to worry about reports or ban. It won't matter if somebody reported you in bad faith if you aren't being completely stupid with your content and who you associate with, and you genuinely try to follow
But again, this is also going back to the whole thing of assuming that people are only going to report if they have this legitimate reason to. Some people are just going to report just because they don't like someone.
rules in good faith and don't play in the gray area all the time. And even better, if everybody is actually trying to follow the rules of a platform in good faith, I think that has an overarchingly good, systemically positive effect on those platforms. Which transitions into my next point, which is about inexcusable ways of using this strategy in a way that has negative systemic effect. I think that DMCA is one of those systemically negative tools. Making reports of TOS violations encourages people to be less toxic, whereas DMCA creators, on the other hand, simply discourages people from reacting to other people's content, because basically nobody in the entire creator space follows copyright law by making transformative content. So this taboo against DMCAing produces a virtuous system that allows everybody to win by reacting to other people's content safely. But more than just talking about these systemic effects and whether it's right or wrong for certain actions, I find that people in these communities often have a disgusting sense of entitlement that makes their actions even worse. A funny example of entitlement that wasn't directly related to TOS was when a streamer named Queeman got into a fight with another YouTuber named Nicholas Diorio. These content creators apparently used to be friends-ish until Queeman did some sort of toxic attacks against Diorio. So Diorio decided that he had had enough with this Queeman guy and decided to stop talking with him or interacting with him at all. And so him walking away was apparently some huge drama. It was a major fox po for Diorio to simply not like a person and no longer want to interact with them. This guy Queeman was so allergic to consequences to his actions, so entitled to his constant attacks against everybody else, that was the drama. The fact that somebody of their own accord just decided that you are a horrible person and that they don't want to interact with you. It's just an absurd levels of entitlement. You don't get to attack everybody else infinitely and then expect there's not going to be some sort of response. In conclusion, I think that modern internet communities allow people to infinitely escalate toxicity and pretend like it doesn't matter. There is no feedback loop or consequence to being a jackass to everybody around you. In the past, these consequence feedback loops allowed old school communities like illegal anonymous hacking groups to remain surprisingly cordial given what those communities were about. And I argue that we need more such feedback loops in the modern internet era. It doesn't have to be hacking groups.
Yeah, I bet they were so cordial to one another.
Doxing and harassing you anymore. Instead, I think that simply using the modern day TOS reporting systems on existing platforms,
or maybe just don't. Again, this entire thing here is, trolling and mass harassment is good. It's just not done in the right way. That's essentially what this guy is saying. Again, instead of being like, hey, maybe just harassing people isn't good, he's like, no, we should just do it another way. Like, guys, we need to have a good faith way to be fucking annoying. We need to harass the right way.
Is enough to push the internet to a better place. And I hope more people do that, or at least try to be less toxic themselves. Thanks.
Oh my fucking god. And look, Mortal Kombat 2. Fucking hell. I mean, what do you even say there? Like, yeah, essentially his entire video boiled down to harassment is actually good, but some people aren't doing it the right way. Like, maybe just don't harass people online just because you don't like them. Like, maybe just don't be a fucking annoying person online. But I don't know what I was expecting. But yeah, I don't think I'm going to really talk about this guy a lot. Again, I just saw this kind of pop up on my Twitter feed, somebody commenting about it, and I was like, you know what, I'll react to it, see how it goes. But yeah, I'm not planning on making another video about this guy. I feel like he really kind of showed who he is with this one. I mean, he already showed who he was with the Reddit video. Just a guy who's like way too online. Again, if he would just step outside, smell some grass, read a book, maybe just do anything else, he would be fine. Like, this is embarrassing. This does not pass the bus driver test. Like, if you can explain this situation to like your local bus driver or to just somebody out in the real world who obviously is not as chronically online, if you can't really explain this situation to them without them seeing it as being weird as shit or just not even really understanding the fundamentals of it, maybe then it's not actually a problem. Or maybe it's just really dumb. And I feel like if this guy tried to, like advocate for the stuff that he's been talking about, with this video. If he was like trying to bring this up to somebody who has no idea what like kiwi farms on 4chan is, they would, or any of these creators, they would just be looking at him sideways like, dude, why do you care about the internet this much? Who gives a fuck? Go outside. But yeah, this is all I really had to say about this video. Thank you all for watching. I will see you next time.